October 8th, 2020. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 218 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Mike, how is your mom?
She is doing much better, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, she's recovering, and she's back home now. I think she was in the hospital for 5 days or so.
Yeah.
She's getting better.
So, for those who don't know, the reason that we missed our deadline on our last episode is because Dr. Mike's mom had an incident. So, exactly what happened?
Well, she had a stroke.
Okay.
And she fell as a result of the stroke.
Okay.
So fell in the kitchen, and then she was actually pretty bruised, her whole body, mostly her left side, and that was the side that was paralyzed.
Okay.
But it only lasted for a couple days, and they got her to the hospital quick, and they gave her what they call miracle drug, TPE, which dissolves all the clots and stuff.
Okay.
And so that helped a lot. I mean,
A little scary, though, I would, because she was in ICU, right? And
she
that's
was in ICU
kind of a
for like
scary drug,
4
even to use,
days.
right?
Yeah. They said there was a lot of risk in using it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, she ended up being okay.
Good.
And
So,
everything's-
any long-term issues
Well,
related to
other-
the stroke? I mean, is she like numb on one side, or is
it's
her
coming
speech?
back.
Oh,
No,
okay.
her speech was never affected at
Okay.
all.
Oh, good. Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, she could speak fine the whole time.
Yeah.
She just couldn't move her left side.
Yeah.
But it is coming back.
Good.
As a matter of fact, last night she insisted on doing the dishes.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a good sign.
Yeah, and it's funny because I went over there Friday night. Now, we're recording on Sunday.
Right. We're recording a little early this time, too, but
Yeah.
just because I know we're going to have a long episode. It's going to take me a while to
Right.
to edit. And plus, I'm sure you're exhausted.
I am
last
exhausted.
almost a month worth of all this. And
I am,
yeah,
I
so,
am exhausted.
Yeah.
So I go over there Friday night. We're taking turns sitting with them because...
You and your brother and sister. And,
Right.
Yeah.
And somebody has to be there all the time because in her state, and then my father needs...
Right. That's the other thing. Your dad. Yeah.
care,
Right.
His age. Anyway, we're sitting there, we're eating, and my dad said, well, you can leave. And I'm like, no, I can't leave. You can't leave you here. And he says, well, what about your free play? Who's going to get your free play?
Oh, that's fantastic.
And my mom's like, yeah, we're fine. We'll just go lay down. You go get your free play. I didn't. Just for those out there who think, oh, he probably headed right away. But yeah, so things are getting better.
Oh, good. Well,
Yeah,
very
and
good
I want to
news.
say thanks to everybody who sent their well wishes and thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just great. It's good to have good friends.
Yeah, it was great on social media from every which way, and it was great. So, yeah.
Goes to show you, you need someone to lean on. We
Yeah.
have a lot of good friends.
Yeah.
And special thanks to Tim Lawson and Eric Rosenthal for filling in for us.
Oh, yeah, that's great. So they actually released an episode on the day when we would have released an episode.
Right.
Eric Rosenthal came out of retirement one time to do a show, and for the most part, they talked about gambling. They got a little off topic
Right.
along the way, but it was it was great of them to do
And
that
it was
show
a good
for us, yeah.
episode. I enjoyed it.
It was very entertaining. Glad to have him back on the mic for a little bit.
Right, yeah, and it's just, I'm sure people, got their little fix of gambling talk there.
Yeah.
So,
No, it was a good show. Well, Mike, let me throw a question back at you. You've been
Okay.
through all this, and your mom and everything, but she's, getting back together. If the Padres beat the Dodgers in the next series and go on to win the World Series, will 2020 have been a good year? See, you're not answering very quickly, are you?
No.
It's tough. It's a hard question, isn't it?
no, for my family, 2020 will have not been the best year.
Yeah.
For my sports life, yes, it will be the highlight of our lives, maybe.
All right. And again, we're recording this on Sunday, so the Padres-Dodgers matchup has not taken place yet.
Yeah,
So
right.
by the time this gets released, who knows? It might be over.
Right. They play, let's see, they play on Tuesday, Wednesday, So by Thursday night, it could be done. They could be over, right?
Yeah.
Let's just pray that it's close.
I know. See, honestly, really, in the first series here, against the Cardinals, it looked like we were going to just get wiped out.
Right.
And I was like, at least, show something.
Right.
Right. And then an incredible comeback, and it was, oh my gosh.
Well, if they could go to Game 5 against the Dodgers, that would be great.
Yeah,
I would love to see that. I would actually. There won't be anything more exciting for us, right?
Yeah.
If the Padres won 3-0, you'd be happy. But if it's a fifth game, I mean, me, I love overtime. I love extra innings.
I know. I'd kind of like a relaxing series for once, so I'm not stressed
You'd like
out
the
like
Padres
I was.
to blow them out.
Yeah, just for once, so I can relax.
Mark, I can guarantee you that's not happening.
Well, speaking of the Bettor Life, on this last episode, Tim Lawson had on Bethany Walsh from bougiemiles.com. Be sure to check that out. Go and subscribe. And at one point, they were talking about pull tabs. Tim actually remembered when he was young and his family would go to this particular restaurant that behind the bar, they had this big bowl of pull tabs.
Right.
They're basically little, almost like lottery tickets that you buy, and you peel back. And in his example, if you saw like a winning slot machine combination, like, I don't know, three cherries or something like that,
3 sevens or something,
you'd get some money back. And he was kind of asking about, what class of gambling does that fall into? Was it really kind of above board? And we remember pull tabs.
Yes.
The tribal casinos that are not allowed to offer Class 3 gambling, that would be like Las Vegas-style gambling, they can offer what's called Class 2 gambling. And it's kind of like lottery tickets, that kind of thing,
right,
where there's a predetermined amount that the casino will win, and then everything else is distributed to the players. It's not
right,
completely random.
No.
It's more like lottery scratchers.
Right. It's like scratchers,
right,
exactly.
And when we used to go to the casino, they would have pull tabs. They'd have like waitresses coming around selling, cigars and,
right,
maybe drinks, and then pull tabs
and
too.
Pull tabs.
Yeah.
They'd have a thing of pull tabs, and you could pick the ones you wanted.
Yeah.
That's when the casinos were more like card rooms.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And there were some like Pai Gow poker, right?
Right, but again, banked by players instead of the house.
Banked by players. Yeah. But they would sell those pull tabs, and they seem to have gone away pretty quickly.
Well, it's because now we have Class 3
right,
gambling in our tribal casino. So I don't know. Across the United States, there might be some Class 2 casinos where they still have them.
Now, could a Class 3 casino still sell pull tabs?
Yeah, they could, but why? I mean, people, you would rather play the Class 3 games, but certainly they could.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's like lottery scratchers. So there are a certain number of winning tickets that are already out there, predetermined.
Right.
And you're just hoping you get them.
It's a luck. You're just picking one and hoping that one's a winner, right?
I would guess that technically these would have been illegal at the restaurant that Tim and his family went to, but probably such small stakes that it was ignored. That's my guess.
I would think that would be the case.
Yeah.
How did they get them, though?
Well, they just buy them, like behind the, I don't know if they pay the bartender.
I mean the restaurant. How did they get them?
Yeah, well, good question. Yeah, it's probably some industry where, they print these up, and maybe, the deal is not to be used for monetary purposes. They just ignore that. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, how, it's funny that a restaurant would have them.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah. But again, it wasn't the main point of the restaurant. You'd go and it'd be kind of, just a little silly thing to do.
It's
in the
like
background.
Playing Keno when you're
very much like playing Keno
when you're at the restaurant. They should bring those back.
Well, we have not seen them in a long time, but that's what pull tabs are. And in fact, at some of the casinos, they had what they called pull tab machines.
Right.
And if you remember, the animation was like a real pull tab going, and it was the same kind of thing. There were a predetermined number of winners, an amount.
Right.
And so you were basically just feeding money, to play a scratch or lottery ticket, but it would be a little pull tab reveal.
It's the ultimate in laziness. The machine that actually reveals the pull tab for you. You don't have to do anything. Right. There's an electrode that gets stuck in your brain, and it's just like, pull the tab.
Right. Pull tabs, pull tabs. Oh, do I have to actually physically do that? Don't you have a machine or something?
Yeah. That paper's tough.
Ow. So anyway, that's all we know about pull tabs. It's
right.
kind of, we got an email from Tony who sent us a link to a song by the band AJR. It stands for Adam, Jack, Ryan. They are brothers, last name Metzger. And they have a song that got a fair amount of radio play here recently called Bang. And it's kind of a silly song in a way. It's kind of goofy and funny and that kind of thing. I think it's about like the transition from your youth to adulthood and that kind of thing. But, you know, the way it plays, it's almost a novelty song. It's kind of
one
fun.
Of those catchy tune songs, and you almost don't even listen to the words. It's just the
things.
The melody sounds cool.
And the beat and everything. Well, anyway, the music video for Bang takes place at a craps table. The whole video is one shot of the three band members and these people around the craps table. And they're not really playing craps. It's kind of crazy what goes on. The video is kind of weird and crazy. And they do a lot of tricks with the camera. You know, it's kind of moving in and out. Right. And suddenly all the players at the table are like naked, or they've changed their clothes. Or, you know, very rarely are they actually rolling the dice like it's a craps game. But it's an entertaining video. I thought it was kind of fun.
It's very entertaining, yeah. My girls liked it. They liked it. Yeah. It's unique.
Yeah, it definitely. And it's fun. So AJR, Bang, you know, just a look on YouTube. I'll put a link to it as well.
Yeah.
But got kind of a kick out of that.
We should say that on the next subject, my throat's a little sore.
We can tell,
and a little groggy. That's probably from yelling, you know, a quarter of the way through the casino at one of the dealers on a table.
I'll tell you, we did go to the casino last night, and it's one of those cases where it was so awful for the first hour and a half.
Terrible.
I mean, dismal. Immediate 7 outs. I'm making come bets, it'd be an immediate 7 out, or I'd go up on three numbers total, and then a 7 out. Right. It was just miserable. And then, oh boy, did it turn around. We made 5 to the fire.
I rolled 5 to the fire. I think I made 7 total points.
Yeah. And so you're yelling across the casino to Jessica, one of the dealers, we made 5 points!
And she heard me. I yelled so loud. She heard me, and she's waving.
She's dealing blackjack. She's nowhere near us, right?
No, nowhere near us. And ever since then, my throat's hurt.
Well, finally, things went well for us.
It was so funny because it wasn't going well. And then besides my big roll, there were several other really good rolls. You had a really good roll. Another guy had a really good roll. Yeah. Anyway, we ended up coming home winners.
Yeah.
Pretty good winners.
It was definitely good one.
it was amazing. During my roll, the point was 10. And one of the dice landed on the table. The other dice landed on the sign that's on the back wall of the table by the dealers that says, you know, what the limits are.
Right. It kind of comes out from the table a little bit, so it's got kind of a little shelf on top of it.
There's a little edge on it, not as thick as the dice, but just maybe half as thick.
Right.
And the die popped up there and landed on that shelf.
And just stayed right there,
And the funny thing is, it would have been a 10 winner.
Right.
But they couldn't call it because it wasn't actually on the table.
Right.
It was stuck on the side. So I thought when that happened, oh, great, here goes my roll. And I think that would have been my 4th point. But then, sure enough, a few rolls later, I rolled the 10. And somewhere between the 4th and 5th point, I rolled the dice again. They rolled down, they hit the back wall, they jumped forward, and then landed on top of each other, stacked.
Just like stacked up.
Stacked on top. You know, once again, a no roll.
Right.
But it was like, how does that happen?
I've never seen that happen anywhere else I'm sure it happens every once in a while, and maybe people have seen it. I wonder if the fact that they, disinfect the dice beforehand.
Maybe.
Although you had been rolling so long, you wouldn't think of the stuff would be sticky at all.
The first few rolls are kind of sticky because they've got some disinfectant on it. And sometimes you pick them up and you get like 4 dice stuck together.
Just a big cube,
Oh, God. Yeah. It was so bizarre.
Yeah. But we had some fun finally. Ooh,
we had a good night. And it was a fun crowd, too.
Yeah,
the people that were on the table were
group.
fun.
Yeah, definitely. Got another email from listener Jason who saw a new machine at the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. It's a completely electronic game where you can play baccarat, roulette, blackjack, or craps. And again, it's completely electronic. So it's not, if you play craps, it's not like shoot to win. It's not like they're physical dice. It's electronic
It's just
dice.
electronic,
so,
yeah.
Is it legit? Probably, right? It has to go through a lot of review.
As legit as any slot machine, I suppose.
Right, that's it. So anyway, kind of reading Jason's email here, he said, as for craps, it was a $1 minimum and a $500 max with chips as low as 25 cents. So for ultra-low rollers, once you've got your $1 on the pass line and a point is established, you can go $1.25 across on the place numbers. So that's nice, you get down to those quarter increments. He says it was nice to play as fast or slow as you wanted. Plus, this machine gives Players Club points, unlike shoot-to-win craps at the Cosmo, where it doesn't even accept a card. So that's good news. Who knows how much you're getting for, playing craps.
$1.25 across. You're probably not getting a lot.
Probably not too much, but it's something anyway.
Yeah, right. But it's kind of nice. That's a perfect place for somebody who has never played craps.
Yeah.
And kind of just wants to see what happens.
Mm-hmm, right. You can go as slow as you or as fast as you want.
Right.
So, yeah,
so
that
it's
is
individual.
nice. Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about other people or there's no pressure to get your bets out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can play blackjack or roulette or baccarat. I don't know what the rules were in blackjack. It might not be 3-2. It could be even money. It could be 6-5. But anyway, the console is called Casino Wizard Table Games, and it's from a company called Gaming Arts.
And how many people at a machine?
Oh, it looked like a carousel. When I was seeing some of the pictures, it looked like maybe a carousel of 4 or 5 machines, something like that.
Okay.
So yeah. So check that out if you're at the Cosmo or, maybe somewhere else. If anybody sees them somewhere else, let us know. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. So we've been off for about a month. So we've got quite a few phone calls, so let's jump into them. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, first up is Uncle G.
Hey, guys. This is Uncle G calling in from Massachusetts. Man, I'm really sorry to hear about the losing streak you've experienced so far in 2020. I went to Mohegan Sun once since the pandemic, and let me share with you my story about my $300 buy-in. I was doing a line bet and 2 cum bets, or a 3-point molly, as some would call it. I didn't win 1 line bet. I didn't win 1 cum bet. I lost my $300 buy-in in about 8 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Never got registered in the computer. Never showed as even showing up to the casino. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take a little break from the casino. So while my friends have been going and enjoying themselves, I've been at home. And I wanted to talk with you about some of the dividends that I've experienced from being at home away from the casino. Without going to the casino for a few months, I seem to have planted a beautiful summer garden, which I enjoy and my neighbors enjoy eating from. And with the extra cash in the pocket, somehow new appliances keep appearing in my home. I replaced my refrigerator, my stove, my garage door opener, a dishwasher, all with cash from not going to the casino. Which reminds me of an episode, Mark, where you had told a story about you were at the casino and came home and learned that your washing machine had been broken for some months. Maybe you could elaborate on that. I seem to recall something about that. And when conditions improve, I'm ready to go back to battle. Anyway, Dr. Mike, do you have any stories about avoiding the casino and dividends that might have paid for you as well? Thank you, gentlemen. 10-4.
All right. So, Mike, why don't you answer that question, and then I'll tell the story again about the washing machine.
Well, I found during COVID, we haven't gone as much.
Right.
Definitely haven't gone as much. And our trips have been shorter. Mm-hmm. We don't stay out there quite as long.
Well, and of course, there was a long period where we couldn't go.
Where we couldn't go, yeah. So, yeah, there's extra money. Now, during COVID, it was a little offset by the fact that we weren't working, or I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't,
working.
yeah. Right.
So income was down.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I saw a lot of extra income. But yeah, I mean, it definitely was a good catch-up time, so to speak, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's why, and Uncle G mentioned this, I was kind of surprised when you said on a recent episode that you had the worst year so far, even though we didn't go for a long time, that this was your worst gambling year. So,
well, prior to COVID, it was terrible, right? And
so
we were going quite a bit. So.
Well, so this story was, I had a big win. My stash had gotten quite big, and we had some good wins at the casino. And I thought, gosh, what could I do with this money? And I thought, well, we've got, in our bedroom, we just have an old tube television set. And there was one show in particular, we were watching The Expanse, sci-fi show, very good show. And watching it on a tube screen and kind of letterboxed, it was hard to read captioning at the bottom when it said what planet they were on or what asteroid or whatever. And so I thought, yeah, it's time to upgrade to a high-def TV for the bedroom. So I said, that's what I'm going to do. So I went out, bought a nice Roku TV and brought it home and set it up. And okay, good. We have a nice HD TV in the bedroom. So I'm over at your house, and we're kind of talking about this, and your wife, Lynn, is listening to this story, and she says, wait a minute, you just bought this TV, but hasn't your washing machine been broken for, months and months? And she was horrified. Meanwhile, my wife was, didn't really think of it. It's like, but yeah, we had been going, to the laundromat.
You were going to the laundromat. Yeah, because Lynn and I talked one night. We're like, how can they go to the laundromat? It takes time, right?
Right, yeah. It's not, yeah.
When you're at home, you put your laundry in, you go watch TV. Yeah. It's a laundromat, you're stuck. Right?
So, in particular, your wife was horrified. And so shortly after that, we did get a new washing machine. Now, the great part about this story is that as we have met a lot of different listeners, some of them think that it's your story.
Right. So
just, it's Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike. Everybody knows Dr. Mike. Well, did you hear about how Dr. Mike went without a washing machine for months, but bought a new TV?
Sounds more like me, to be honest.
Right, and so I don't correct them. I said, yeah, that sounds like Dr. Mike.
My wife would kill me.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So
I've got more at stake than you. That's actually my life on the line here.
I don't know what that says about our wives, but maybe we won't continue. All right. So anyway, we are starting to get some responses to our poker tournament. So let's listen to a few of those calls.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is fifth place Alex from Atlanta, Georgia. First of all, I want to say thank you guys for putting together the poker tournament. It was a lot of fun. I wish I could have selected the bounties, but I didn't get to play on the same table as you guys. And as y'all saw at the end, I was being very aggressive, which cost me. I was trying to push the action. But anyways, it was great fun, and hopefully y'all do it again sometime in the near future. Appreciate it. Bye.
Yeah, we are definitely going to do another one.
Yes.
And, when we were driving out to the casino here recently, we said, when would be a good time? And we thought, how about on Selection Sunday right before March Madness? It'd be kind of fun. We have the poker tournament in the morning, and then by the time it's done, then they're starting to, select the teams.
Announce the picks,
right?
yeah.
Hopefully, it'll happen this year. I think
Right.
Even if, COVID is still a big part of our lives, I think sports teams are learning kind of how to deal with it, and hopefully that will translate into college basketball, although who knows? I'm certainly...
It's a little harder with college because there's...
You can't put them in a bubble like you can the NBA, right?
No, you're not professionals,
Right.
and they're not making money. It's hard to put somebody in a bubble.
Yeah. So that's what we're thinking right now. Maybe that's Sunday. So, of course, we'll keep everybody informed as we get closer.
Yeah, that's like early March, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like,
First couple of
weeks in March.
Right. All right. Next up, Jana.
Hey, guys. It's Jana from Houston. Haven't called in for a while. Been really busy doing stuff. I was just listening to your last podcast. For some reason, it didn't show up for quite a while, and I'm so sorry that I missed it because I really was excited when I was listening to it about your poker game that you guys were going to be doing on Poker Stars, and I'm so sorry I missed it. Will you guys be doing anything like that again in the near future? Because I would love to get in on that. Just checking in, saying hello, and hope you get to do that soon because I'd love to do it. Y'all take care and have a good day. Bye-bye.
Yeah, and of course, one of the reasons that it was such short notice on this last one is we wanted to get it in before the NFL season started. We wanted to do it on a Sunday, and so it was kind of a last-minute thing. So, people...
We didn't want it to conflict with people's watching their team.
Right. So this next one will give plenty of advance notice. Probably by January or February, we'll have a better idea when we're going to have it. So,
right.
Yep.
The one thing Alex kind of touched on that I wish was better, but there's really no way around it, is that we can't be on every table.
Yeah, that's a lot of it's luck, right? We put the bounties on us, but if you're not on our table,
Right, and it's not like we have any control of Poker Stars or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I was happy we didn't end up on the same table.
I was too, yeah.
Because that would have been bad, right?
Yep.
I mean, and there were so many people and so many tables.
Yeah.
So we just have to deal with that.
Yeah.
It's just the kind of the luck of the draw.
Yeah, that is a lot of it. Yep.
Yep.
All right, next up is Andrew.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Andrew from Texas. I was just listening to the episode where you had the results from the poker tournament, and it reminded me of a story when you talked about the bad beat on the straight flush. I actually had, during a tournament, I had 4 of a kind beat by a straight flush, but tournament play doesn't usually count towards the bad beat jackpot, so it was just a good old-fashioned bad beat, and I was out of that tournament. And then I was also listening to the caller who talked about going to the casino where you guys play and then getting harassed by security about getting cut off at the bar. And I was thinking, well, maybe somebody who had gotten offended that he said Dr. Mike didn't tip very well, maybe they recruited security to mess with him a little bit. Just a bit of a conspiracy theory that I thought of myself when I was listening. So anyway, just some thoughts on that. Thanks for the show, guys. I've been really enjoying it lately, especially since I haven't been able to gamble for 6 or 7 months. So thanks again. Have a nice one.
Yeah, on our last episode, Mr. Lucky was talking about how he went to the bar with his friends and they said, no, you're cut off. You've been drinking all day at the pool. And yeah, maybe it was because right before that, he went over the crap spit and says, yeah, I hear this Dr. Mike doesn't tip very well. He's just trying to get a rise out of the crew there. So yeah, maybe they said, yeah, cut these guys off.
They're obviously drunk.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't think so, Mark.
Yeah, bad beat jackpots are usually not paid for tournaments because in tournaments they're not collecting for the bad beat jackpot. So
right.
Yeah, 4 of a kind beaten by a straight flush. I remember there was a World Series of Poker where the camera happened to go over to a table where 4 aces was beaten by a royal. Can you imagine being in the World Series of Poker?
Yeah.
You paid $10,000, right? And you got 4 aces and you lose to a royal flush. Yeah,
Yeah, that's got to haunt you the rest of your life. Seriously, now, wouldn't you be thinking? I mean, am I the most unlucky person? That's going to happen to me, Mark.
probably. And
More likely that than I get a royal flush in video poker, right?
when I think of just our home game that we've been playing for 30 years,
Right.
only twice has a straight flush beaten 4 of a kind, no wild cards, but both times it was in Omaha. It wasn't Hold'em, it was in Omaha where you've got more cards.
Got more cards,
right? So
right.
it's a little more likely to happen. So yeah, that is pretty unusual.
Jeez.
All right, next up, Joseph.
Hey guys, this is Joseph from Grand Prairie, Texas, right outside of Dallas. Just wanted to give a little bit of a trip casino report. Over here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we have mainly Choctaw and WinStar to go to. My wife and I have been laying back off the casino for a while, but Choctaw has a non-smoking area. I don't know if WinStar does or not, but we did start going to Choctaw, which is a little bit farther, but still a pretty good little casino. And for the most part, everybody's keeping their masks on in the non-smoking part of the casino, which is pretty good size. They have decent games there, some table games, some of the stadium gaming, some decent video poker, not great pay tables, but yeah, it's there. It's allowing us to scratch the itch. So just for the people that want to get going back to the casino, it's worth the trip, I would say. Also, just wanted to say I placed 120th in the poker tournament. I enjoyed it. Also, maybe 2 or 3 times at least a year, I would say. Not so much to where people get burned out and not so few that people forget about it. So I would say at least 2 or 3. Just thanks for putting it on. I enjoyed it a lot. So thanks for what you guys do. I love this podcast. Have a good one, guys.
Oh, good. Yeah, thanks, Joseph.
Thank you.
I'm thinking twice a year. Yeah.
Yeah, so far that's our thinking, twice a year.
Yeah, that's my thinking because I do all the work.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
And I'm going to go along with whatever you decide, Mark.
Oh, good. Thank
I won't
you.
Be putting
You're
up
pressuring me, right? Let's have another one. What's your problem? So again, look for one, probably March on Selection Sunday.
Sounds good. That sounds good to me.
Yeah. Okay. Next up is Nick.
Hello, gentlemen. This is Nick in Kalamazoo. Just got back from a 9-day Las Vegas trip and had a pretty good time. I've heard mixed reviews from callers, whether or not they enjoyed Vegas, or didn't enjoy Vegas. We're not big drinkers. We don't really go to bars or clubs, so that didn't affect us. We do like shows, but obviously that wasn't an option. And there were some disappointments at some of the restaurants due to their limited menus or only being open on certain days. But we did make the best of it. We had comped rooms at Luxor and the Pyramid Suite, which was really cool. We've never stayed in the Pyramid. Had a hot tub, really cool view, just something really fun to do, and we like staying there. It was our first time staying at Bellagio in a fountain view room. My wife has always wanted to do that. We spent much of our time in the room watching the fountain with the sound on TV. Really cool experience, very nice pool, lots of security walking around, making sure people have their masks on. Even if you're in your chair, just sitting there drinking, just making sure when you're not actively taking the drink that you have your mask on. We also stayed at El Cortez. We really enjoyed staying there. It was nice, quiet, really nice room. And then we stayed finally at Treasure Island, which I don't think we'll do again. It kind of turned into a party casino, I guess. It was really loud. There were lots of people, very little social distancing, crammed lines to try to get into the elevators. Didn't feel safe there. We stayed away as much as we could, even though we were staying there. We did go off strip quite a bit and really enjoyed the Cannery. Had $5 craps the whole time, fire bet, 10 times odds. We had a lot of fun there. The movie theater was also open, so we had a chance to see a movie, which we haven't done in quite some time. And we also enjoyed going to Jerry's Nugget, which is just north of El Cortez. They have $3 craps. Their Ultimate Texas Hold'em table is $2.
Nice.
And also has the Pairs Plus bet where you bet on your whole cards and get paid based on like ace-face suited, or having a pair. My wife had a straight flush, which she's never hit more than a full house, which paid her $650. And I got to play craps for quite a while on $100, just betting $3. They have the ATS there, so a lot of fun. Really difficult to find a $5 table downtown, although Binion's always had a $5 table in the morning. They open about 10 a.m. Even Four Queens was $10 a lot of the times that they open. My favorite, Golden Gate, was always $10 or $15, so I just avoided playing there altogether. On the Strip, for $10, I played at Bally's for the first time. Really liked it. Nice place. Unfortunately, I stood there for an hour and 20 minutes waiting to get on the table and saw some monster rolls. Lots of repeaters hit. By the time I got to the table, it was bad. But we had a really good time. The flight felt safe.
You got cut off there. Thanks for all the information, Nick. A lot of good information. Mike, can you imagine you and I going to Las Vegas for 9 days?
No. And I'm being totally serious here. That's the last 9 days of my life. Okay? That would have to be the last night. I don't think I would survive those 9 days.
We usually go for 3 days, or like 2 nights, something like that.
Right.
And when we have gone for 3 nights, 4 days, it's like, that might have been a little too much, right? So, even 4 days, it's a little rough for us. Of course, that's all we're doing is gambling,
We're at the casino for 4 hours last night. I can barely talk today. Okay? Imagine 9 days. Oh, my God.
Jerry's Nugget, yeah, gosh, it's been
Long
at least
time.
20 years since we've been to Jerry's Nugget, but we did go down there. I don't think we've ever been to the Cannery, though.
No.
Yeah.
When you read that, I don't even recognize where it's at.
Yeah, so that's one that we missed. But, when he was talking about staying at the Bellagio, too, it got me thinking about how many places we have not stayed in Las Vegas.
Right.
And one of the reasons now is because we go to a Caesars property practically every week. So, of course, we get, the red carpet from them when we go to Vegas.
It's so hard when you're given everything at the Caesars properties like we are, to go somewhere else where we might have to pay for something or, we don't get the red carpet treatment.
Yeah.
It does kind of corrupt you. I mean, that's part of their thinking, right?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, last night when you were playing your free play, one of the regulars at Harrah's Rincon came up to me and asked me if I'd been to Vegas. And I said, no. And he said, why? And I said, well, mostly COVID.
Yeah.
And I've just got too much else going on.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, yeah, I understand. And he said he just got back and they stayed at Park MGM.
Right.
And it's all non-smoking.
Yeah, that's a big thing. No
and
smoking.
he was raving about it.
Really?
He said, oh, you've got to stay there. You've got to stay there. It's all non-smoking. It's so nice. It's totally different than any other casino. You don't smell any smoke. And, he's going on. And he looked at me and says, yeah, I know it's not a Caesars property.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, see, we go there. Sure, we'll get it comped at the end or something.
Yeah.
But, it's not the same as what we get when we go to Caesars, especially like food and stuff.
Yeah, and they're giving that to us up front. Not just food and rooms, but free play too, generally, right?
Yeah.
Some kind of
when
gift
you're getting $2,500 free play, you're not going to go somewhere where you don't get any free play, right?
Yeah.
Because I can still go there and enjoy that casino for a few hours. I just don't stay there.
Yeah.
So
I just started thinking I was in my head going down the strip. It's like, oh gosh, there are a lot of properties we haven't stayed at. But anyway,
and ones like Bellagio where we've gambled at a ton. A ton, but we'd never stayed there.
Yeah. So I don't even know why I bring it up other than maybe we'll think about staying somewhere else in the future. Okay, next up is Keith.
Hey guys, this is Keith here from New Hampshire, calling with a trip report. I was over at the Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut. Normally I'm a $5 player on the craps table, and all the craps tables unfortunately were $25 minimum, which was kind of a bummer. But I was jonesing to play the game since I hadn't played it since COVID started. So I did kind of pony up the dough, played for about 2 hours, ended up losing about $45 in total, which wasn't too bad. Was exciting to get a 6 and 8 up to about $90 a piece, which is very, very high for me. And got as low as about $200 down, up about $200 up in the end. Had a good time, but was really disappointed with the $25 tables, and it's just something I have to get used to. Really love the show, first time caller, and hope to call you guys again. Thanks for all the craps advice and crap stories. Really makes for a wonderful podcast. Take care.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. Well, like we said on a recent episode, we think that these high limits are going to come down once COVID, starts to
dissipate
or go down. Because right now, they can't get as many people around the table, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And it's probably going to be worse at casinos where there's not much nearby competition. Now, Mohegan Sun, yes, they do have Foxwoods fairly close by, but it's not right across the street like, say, Golden Nugget and Binion's, right?
Yeah, you're not going to walk out the door and into the other one.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I think we're just going to have to get used to that for a while and hope. And I think this will be the case, that eventually the limits will come down again.
You know what annoys me the most, Mark, and I think you'll agree with this, is because the limits are so high, like out at Harrah's Rincon, people walk up and they come up and there's like two $25 tables and a $50 table. And the only spot that there's even room is on the $50 table.
Yeah.
And, they buy in for $60.
Yeah.
And then, it's 50. And then some of them walk away. But some of them are too embarrassed and they make one bet.
I know. I feel bad for them because, they kind of like, $50. And then, they make a $50 field bet and it loses. And then they're looking at, $10 in their rag. They can't make a bet.
Right. The guy bought in last night for $110 with $5s and $10 bills. And it's like $50. You got two bets.
Yeah.
And sure enough, a couple rolls later, he was gone. Yeah. And it is kind of sad. Because there should be a place for those people. And a lot of them don't like the machine because they don't know the game.
Right, yeah, sure.
So
they don't like that.
They don't even know what to bet. They want the dealer there to say, you want a 6? Well, here, that kind of thing. So the casinos are raking it in with people like that.
Yeah,
right?
it is too bad. Well, again, hopefully they'll come down. I think they will. All right, next call.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Nick from Virginia. I was calling in with a quick trip report from MGM National Harbor in Maryland. So I went for my first time back since the beginning of the year, and I'll just give a rundown of the safety features. Before you went in, they had a temperature scan. You had to pull down your mask. There's just a camera, and they just gave you a thumbs up, and you walk right through. As far as slot machines go, it was either every other machine was off, or they have plexiglass dividers between all of the games. And then all the table games have plexiglass. The blackjack style games and carnival games were limited to 3 players, and the craps table were limited to 3 players per side with plexiglass dividers. Although the plexiglass that was on the craps tables wasn't very wide, so I think it was more to mark off where you were supposed to stand versus to keep people physically separated. They had strict mask enforcement. They had signs all over the place that had what was acceptable as a mask and how you were supposed to wear it. The dealers and the pit bosses would tell people to put on their mask if they didn't have them on properly. There was drink service there. The waitresses would come around and take drinks. I didn't notice anybody had to step away from the table to take a drink, but I guess with the plexiglass dividers, it was okay. finally, high limits everywhere. I only saw one game that had a limit of less than $25, and it was some carnival game where I imagine you had to play multiple hands to start. Blackjack was $25. Pai Gow was $50 a hand. They had 5 craps tables open, 4 regular tables, and 1 crapsless craps table. 3 of the regular craps were $50 each, and they had one $75 table. The crapless was $25, and it had the fire bet. And also the dealers maintained a waiting list. So if you would go up and they would see you waiting, they would ask if you wanted to play. And if you hung around when somebody left, they would call you over and not let somebody who just walked up come take that space. Yeah, I wanted to play in crapless craps. Never really played before, but when I play a $25 table, I normally place the 6 and the 8 and then press and expand from there. So it didn't really change my game much, except for when I was shooting and I got a 2 and I almost had a heart attack because I thought I lost. But then they're like, 2's the point. I didn't wind up making that point, but I didn't really mind the crapless craps overall. I did pretty well, went up by about 50% and left. Overall, I felt pretty safe there. I didn't have any issues with any of the other patrons or any of the dealers or anything. What they do for their dice there is that they take out a new bag of dice for every shooter, and they take the old ones and put them away. So there's no problem with dice sticking together or anything like that. And they alternate colors for every shooter, so it'd be red, blue, red. So overall, it was a really good experience. I had a fun time, and it was good to get back in the casino and play some craps. Love the show, and thank you guys for putting that on. Even when there was no betting or sports to talk about, it really helped me, and I really enjoyed it. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.
All right, good. Thanks for that MGM National Harbor report. That's kind of interesting, bagged dice ahead of time. And that's, they just get them all ready in just a new bag, and then the old dice just go into a big bin or something.
No, I bet they rebag them.
Yeah, I'm sure they do, but they're all ready to go, right? Probably a big bunch of them, maybe, behind the scenes, they're bagging them.
I was going to tell this story at the end tonight, but I'm going to tell it now. It seems like it fits right here.
Okay.
So at Harrah's Rincon, there's 3 live tables. And they have this like little table with buckets, and the buckets are full of disinfectant.
It's like a cart, right?
It's like a cart thing, yeah. And some of the buckets are just full of cloths because they're constantly wiping stuff and changing stuff. So they've got these cloths so they can reuse them. It's like, they wash them and bring clean cloths out. And they got this whole process, right? And there's this one dealer there, this really sweet dealer. I mean, she's as nice as can be. And her name's Tam Tam. Anyway, Tam Tam was dealing to me, and I look over there, and I mean, there's like 6 buckets, and there's all this spray stuff, and then underneath on the bottom of the cart's like big gallons of disinfectant stuff and everything. Right. And a couple doors down from my office, there's a dry cleaner. And when I walk in the back to do maintenance on the compressor and stuff, I walk by the dry cleaner and I can see in there, and that's what the dry cleaner looks like inside, right? There's all these like spray bottles and buckets and things like that for probably bad stains that they have to do extra work to or whatever. And so I turn to Tam Tam and I say, it's like a dry cleaning place in here now, And I'm pointing to the stuff and I said, is there any chance I can get my shirt, washed and pressed before I leave? And she's laughing. And right when I say that, I mean, and I had not planned this, or I look up and here's this guy walking by with just a pair of swim trunks on and nothing else.
Okay.
He's got no shirt, no shoes, no socks, nothing, just this pair of swim trunks. He had obviously been at the pool all day and was walking through the casino. And I turned to Tam Tam and see, Tam Tam, he's getting his shirt washed. How come I can't get mine? I'll take it off right now.
Oh, God.
And Tam Tam's just busting up. I mean, the look on her face was so special because it was like, did he plan that? Did he see this guy coming? It was just so out of the blue. But it's like a laundromat.
Yeah, I've seen that too, right? It's just
it's so funny.
Let me ask you this. Now, Nick was saying that at least one of the tables was a $75 minimum. Have you ever seen 75 ever? Yeah.
Never seen that.
Even, I was thinking about it, Mike, last night when we were at Harrah's, they've got an electronic thing that shows the table minimum, right? And they can switch it. And he was going through the different options, and it would change from one to another, 15, 25, 50, 100. 75 wasn't one of the choices.
It's 15, 25, 50, 100. I remember one dealer not too long ago, a few weeks ago, told us that 75 was hard to add up. Remember?
Yeah, that's
At
right.
one point, I had 75 on the line,
Right.
and it was like a 6 or 8
It
with
was like
5
full
times
odds,
odds,
right, yeah.
which is like 375. And she was like, "Oh my God, it was 75 times 5? Oh, that's." And she was complaining how 75 is a weird number, right?
Well, I guess, yeah, maybe that's why they don't do it.
Yeah, that's it. Too confusing.
Yeah. All right. Next up is Michael.
Hey, what's up, Mark and Dr. Mike? This is Michael from Atlanta. Hope you guys are doing well. I had my first trip out to a casino a couple weeks ago. I was actually over in Dallas. Buddy organized a big golf tournament for the weekend, and we headed up from Dallas to WinStar to warm up and play their course there before the weekend. So for the golfers out there, WinStar has 2 18-hole courses, and we played one of them, which was very nice, the Scissortail side. Great course. Obviously, afterwards, we had to head into the casino and check it out. Had dinner at El Phoenix in there, which is your good old Tex-Mex, really good eating. Headed into the casino. It was a Friday night, and it was packed. I was quite surprised at how busy it was. Forced mask upon entry, obviously, and check temperatures, but no problem there. We headed in, lost at craps, lost at blackjack. Luckily, a friend of mine who always happens to be good luck was with me after a 20 in a slot and turned it all back in just one pull, which is nice. Biggest highlight was on the way out. My buddy always plays roulette. He had got up a couple $100 and pocketed all the colored up chips and just had, I think $17 left, and he always plays 17. So he tried to put all $17 on number 17, and they had a $10 maximum straight up, which I thought was really low. So he was able to take the others and kind of do split bets. But, of course, he hit it, and there was like 15 of us standing around, so that was real fun to watch. As far as the actual casino limits and everything, it was actually pretty normal from before the pandemic. I mean, they were spreading $10 craps tables, I think 4 of them, and they actually had the new digital roll-to-win machine at $1 minimum. Obviously, you still have the awful Oklahoma ante. Yeah, well, I just thought that was interesting because even when you're playing the roll to win, they give you a stack of chips that you have to put down for each ante, even though the rest of your bets are all done digitally on the machine. But yeah, hope you guys are good. Talk to you soon, and hopefully we'll have another trip here coming up soon. See you. Bye.
Yeah, for table games in Oklahoma, you have to pay an ante. We've talked about that on previous episodes. So even at the roll-to-win table, right, that's that hybrid table where you're rolling dice, but you're betting electronically. But you have to actually have physical chips for the ante, like on each come-out roll. So the dealer has to collect that.
Most of your betting is on a machine, but you do have to have some chips. And I like that he called it the awful Oklahoma ante. Yes. We ought to have a contest because we have a lot of people in Texas, Oklahoma. What should we call the ante?
The official, you can bet on that name for the ante that you have to pay at table games in Oklahoma.
Right.
That's the awful ante.
Send in your ideas. Try and keep them fairly clean. I've got a few that I probably couldn't say.
All right. We'll see if we can collect some. This is not a contest.
No.
We're not giving anything away. I'm going to make that clear.
Well, we're giving away the pride of knowing you were the one that named it.
All right. Maybe we'll list them if somebody comes up with some clever ones. Maybe we'll do that. All right. Next up, our friend Melanie.
Hello, Mark. Hello, Dr. Mike. This is Melanie from Colorado. Happy anniversary, Mark. I am so happy to share my birthday with your anniversary. Dr. Mike, thank you for the shout out because all of my birthday plans were canceled by the snow we got in Colorado because they were all outdoor plans. Anyway, just wanted to let you know that I did travel to Kansas City for the weekend to see my parents. A couple of things. I'm driving back from the airport. I stopped at Black Hawk because the table games resumed 3 days ago. And I was pretty excited about that. Wanted to check it out. So no plexiglass, 3 players per table for blackjack and similar games. And it looked like they had 3 or 4 for craps. I did not play craps because every game at Isle of Capri where I stopped in Black Hawk was $15. And that's not even the nice place. So I was like, I can't do it. I did match my Caesars Diamond to Isle of Capri, whatever their status equivalent is. I have Caesars Diamond through Wyndham Diamond, so recommend anybody match if they can. One benefit of the Caesars Diamond is the $100 celebration dinner. I couldn't use that because I won't be going to Vegas this year. So I went up to Harrah's in Kansas City and asked them if I could use it for takeout, and they said yes. and I did not need a certificate. So I just went to a place called Winning Streaks and got $100 worth of ribs and sides. Took it home, and that fed 5 of us with leftovers. I did, like I said, stop at Blackhawk, and then I continued on to Central City, which is a mile up the road. I'd almost say the comparison is like the Vegas Strip to downtown, except Central City is cute and quaint and nobody's naked. It's very, very, not simple, but it's not elaborate and huge like some of the places in Blackhawk. I love it though. They had $3 minimum blackjack. Again, the maximum bet in Colorado is $100. So you could bet $3 to $100. It was a 6U deck. Dealer stays on a soft 17. I had a full view of a really nice TV to watch the Monday Night Football game. And then on the TV right next to it, Vegas Golden Knights. So that was amazing. I probably would have stayed longer, but my mask was uncomfortable, so I left. I was the only person at the table. I was the only person in the entire table games area. This was what's it called? It's a Century City Casino. And I believe it's the only casino in Central City that has table games. I did stop by the Grand Z, which is kind of between Central City and Blackhawk. They had no table games going. And Century City told me that they only have crafts Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But they did have $3 blackjack with great rules, 3 to 2 blackjack. And I bought in for 100, cashed out 102. I tipped a ton and really enjoyed myself. Thanks for your great show, guys. And I can't wait to hear about your latest adventures.
Good. Thanks, Melanie.
Thanks, Melanie.
Yeah, that's good advice. You know, if you're diamond or above through Caesar's Rewards, you get this celebration dinner. And this year, it might be harder to take advantage of it than in previous years, obviously. But, you know, she just went to a place where she was able to get stuff to go. So ask if you do happen to be in the casino. A few years ago, we were able to, you know, just go to the takeout place and get tons of water and soda and candy and all sorts of stuff.
I was laughing because when she was saying that, didn't Mark use his $100 for bottled water?
It was mostly water,
Yeah, he got mostly bottled water, which he brought home.
Yeah, like $3 a bottle, right?
He got home, he told Sherry, look, I got all this water. And then he just opened one and dumped it on the floor.
That's what I think of that. Anyway, be sure to check because there may be options, and getting food to go might be one of them.
Right,
yeah, so,
right.
Yeah.
Is it reminding me we need to use ours?
I know, Mike.
At some point.
When are we going to do it?
I got 2 things to ask. So and maybe Melanie can answer this, or maybe somebody else knows. In Colorado, since it's $100 maximum, if I sat at a blackjack table and wanted to play 2 hands, could I put 100 on each hand?
I'm guessing you could, yes.
Because it'd be the same guy, but I'd be betting 200 just on 2 hands.
I'm guessing that's the case because, like at the craps table, it's not like it's an aggregate of $100 all your bets.
Right.
Right. You can have, you know, $100 on the pass line and you know $100 on the 5 or what. So yeah, I would guess there'd be 2 hands. Yeah, even though you're one person. Yeah, sure, because they're 2 separate bets. Right? You're not betting on the same hand. It's 2 separate bets. So, yeah.
And what about this? What about now with COVID and a table where there's only 3 people allowed on the table? Could I sit down on an empty table and bet all 3 hands?
My understanding is that even though they're limiting the tables to 3 physical people, that you can still bet multiple spots. So that there may be more than 3 wagers on the table.
Oh, I gotcha.
Right?
I gotcha.
So you could bet 2. You know, you could bet
a table with 6 spots. I could take up 3 of them, and then still 2 people could play.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, that's my understanding.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I was just wondering how they deal with that. Be pretty rude of some guy to take a whole table by himself.
Right.
Well,
I don't know that it's happening that much, but yeah, that's my understanding. It's not limiting it to 3 betting places, just 3 physical people.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Good.
All right, next call.
Hey guys, this is Adam from Seattle. First time calling you guys. So I just wanted to give you guys a trip report to Northwood, Iowa, the Diamond Joe's Casino this past week. About a month ago, I inquired on your guys' Twitter account about places to play craps in Minnesota since my wife and I were heading out there to pick up a puppy. Yes, a puppy that my wife just had to have. You know, happy wife, happy life. You guys get it. Anyway, the response I got there was there's no live craps in Minnesota. So I was in charge of finding lodging, so I obviously made that one of my stipulations. Ended up finding Diamond Joe's. Found it was halfway from the airport in Minneapolis to the breeders that were meeting the next day. Diamond Joe's, obviously a local casino. There's literally nothing around there. I think they had about 3 craps tables. Can't remember if it was 3 or 4. A bunch of carnival games and 3-2 blackjack. I guess it's run by Boyd Gaming. And I got to tell you guys, I was surprised by the lack of mask usage while we were there. My wife and I were definitely in the minority as far as wearing a mask goes. It was a little scary. So, of course, we had to have some liquid courage to carry on. I was there on a busy Saturday night, and they had 2 or 3 craps tables open. But in the couple hours we were there, I was not able to get on. So I found a blackjack table, some funky side bets, and played for a while, and eventually wanted to get something to eat. So, of course, we're in Iowa in the middle of the pandemic, and options were limited. So I looked around, saw a bunch of people who had just give up on life, I guess, and eating at Burger King in the middle of the casino. Anyway, after I had my Whopper with cheese, we left the casino, but because I wasn't able to get on the craps table Saturday, we went back to the next morning since I had about an hour to kill, plus it's research. I was able to finally get on one, $10 minimum with 10 times odds, bought it for $300. Normally a lot more aggressive and usually buying for a lot more, but we're running low on time and didn't want to get caught having to leave a table mid-roll since my wife threatened me that we would do that if the breeders could meet earlier. Anyway, no spectacular rolls. I was down to my last $20 when the shooter hit 3 points, and since I was betting pass and 2 come bets with 5 times odds, I was able to make a comeback and eventually left the table with a small win after about 45 minutes. So all in all, good trip. As anything is for a trip in Iowa, I don't think we'll be back given the choice. Disappointed to see the lack of awareness and care about the virus out there, but maybe we just take it a little too seriously in Seattle. Who knows? Anyway, I want to say thanks to Dr. Mike and those of your Twitter fans for helping me find a casino suitable for our trip. And I really appreciate your podcast. I'm sure everybody that says that. But really, more than ever, since, I'm really not traveling to the casino as much, and I'm sure you guys aren't either. But anyway, really appreciate your podcast. Love your show. Please keep it going. All right, guys. Thanks. Take care.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? We heard about MGM National Harbor, real strict on all the safety.
Right.
And then, here's this basically locals place, and it's like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, Iowa, Minnesota, they are taking it more seriously now from what I hear from my mother-in-law. Mm-hmm. At first, they were not.
Interesting.
But now, even in a little small towns like where she lives, there's 1,500 people. Mm-hmm. And at first, they had no cases, and people were like, But now they've had a few cases. You get 10 or 15 cases in a small town like that, all of a sudden people are wait a minute, So I think they are now taking it a little more seriously. But
now, it's interesting, Mike, you and I both, we love fast food. I mean, let's just admit it. We don't go to Burger King very often. No. Every once in a while, you'll say, hey, how about Burger King? And it's like, well, maybe because we haven't been in a while.
And I was giggling to myself about our recent Burger King fiasco.
Oh, yeah. We said, okay, let's finally go. And it was closed.
Well, I'll tell you what. Every time we come home from the casino, as we leave, our first discussion is, where should we eat?
Yeah.
And it's so stupid that we even talk about it because 95% of the time we go to Jack in the Box.
It's open and it's fast.
It's open and it's fast. This Jack in the Box in Escondido, California is by far, without a doubt, the fastest fast food place in the world.
And we're talking 2:30 in the morning, 3 in the morning. We can't believe how quickly they get the
go to the
food
window
to us.
at 3
it's
in
a
the
little
morning.
scary. We should probably be concerned.
We order, we pay the money, and they hand us the food. And it's like, how did they cook 3 burgers and 6 tacos and everything in the 10 seconds that we paid, right? It's weird, but it's always hot and it's good, and we've never got sick. So we keep going, but we always go there. So the other night we're talking, and I'm like, let's go somewhere else.
It was early enough that more places would be open.
Right,
so we thought, okay, yeah.
And I said, and I didn't want to go to der Wiener Schnitzel because we had been there a few weeks earlier. And there's a Carl's there, and we're not real thrilled with that Carl's.
No, bad service.
And McDonald's didn't have a special on, or I don't know what it was. So we decided to go to Burger King. And we're driving along, and all of a sudden I said to Mark, I think you passed
We
the
never
Burger
saw
King.
it.
He never. You never saw it.
Well, did you?
I didn't see it either.
Yeah.
We're like, did they tear it down since last week? I mean, shouldn't there have been lights on or something?
You'd think we'd see,
Yeah, I mean, it turns out we drove right by it.
Yeah.
We were probably in a stupor because I think we lost that night. So we didn't see the Burger King.
Well, and it turned out it was closed, lights out.
So
that's why.
Which is unusual too.
Yeah, a lot of times places, even though they're closed, some of their lights will be on at least.
Well, like the Carl's Jr., there, all the lights are on, even in the drive-thru. And, like I'm an idiot. I drive up to the drive-thru, and I'm sitting there, all the lights are on, and then nobody says anything, nobody says anything. And how long do you wait? Do you honk, or do you just wait? Usually I wait like 40 seconds, 50 seconds, nobody answers. Then I drive through and I look, it's completely empty, but every light's on. So the next week we made certain to make sure Burger King had not been torn down. Or
I'll tell you, the only time I really love Burger King, and this is true every time, is when we're leaving Vegas and we're at the Seagates. We're flying home.
Yes.
They have a Burger King there. For some reason, that's always delicious.
Yes, that is good.
Meanwhile, I'll go to Burger King just down the street. Oh, God, that wasn't very good.
I'm going to explain to you why it's always delicious.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Because it's Sunday morning. You've been up all night. You've drank a ton. You've got nothing in your stomach. Mark, they could put dog food in there, and you would think it was delicious. Okay.
I think he came up with the reason. Thank you, Dr. Mike. All right, next call.
Mark, Dr. Mike, hi, it's JW. I just wanted to call with a quick trip report. I'll try to get it done in 3 minutes. I went to Biloxi, Mississippi, August 28th through the 30th. Took a Caesar Air charter. That was my third charter. I'd flown to Atlantic City a couple times before that. I was a little hesitant to go because I haven't been on a trip since January, but the price was $35 for a round trip and 3 nights at Harrah's in Biloxi, so I figured it's time to get out of the house and do something. So overall, the experience was pretty good. I'll definitely go back. It was kind of weird being in a casino with the limited playing, limited tables, and the mask, having to wear a mask all day. That was really uncomfortable. I've been at home for most of this, so I haven't really been out as much as I was during this trip. So I stayed at Harrah's. Harrah's was nice. The casino is really small. Apparently the original casino was destroyed during Katrina, and they remodeled the convention center into the new casino. So it's really small. During the day, they only had 3 blackjack tables opened up. They had a $15 table, which was a continuous shuffle. They had a $25 table, which was an 8-deck shoe, and they had a $50 2-deck table. So I played there. I walked down to Golden Nugget. It was much bigger, much nicer, but they had about the same amount of tables opened. Played there for a little while, and then I walked over to Imperial Palace. Imperial Palace seems to be catering to the low rollers. The highest limit table they had there during the day and even late afternoon was 25. So I did not play there. Played most of my time at Harrah's. Harrah's was the only one that had placards at the table. So they had a 3-player max. They had red and green placards. Red means that seat at the table was not clean, so you had to wait for the pit boss to come in and clean that seat and the area in front of the seat. Green means you could sit down. For the most part, you could get a seat at the table. During the day, at night, you had to wait to kind of have to stand around, by a slot machine and wait for a table to open up. When I went to Golden Nugget, they did not have anybody clean the seats. They did not have any placards. There was no dividers at any of the tables. I didn't really feel worried, about getting sick or anything. Just a difference in how the casinos were handling things. I didn't stay at Imperial Palace long enough to notice, but I did not see any dividers, and I didn't see anybody cleaning the tables. I've enjoyed your show. I've listened to you guys for several years now. I've listened to, reading through the show notes and kind of spot listen to the ones that are of interest. Appreciate everything you guys do. Love the trip reports. Love all the information you guys provide about casinos and just the general experience, talking about the hosts and talking about different comps and the different loyalty programs and all that. So I would love to talk to you guys. Then keep up good work. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, so this junket to Biloxi, probably very similar to the ones that we get in Southern California for Laughlin, right? We get these offers all the time where
every week
they'll fly on a chartered jet and go over there and free rooms and everything. So that's not bad, right? $35 round trip, 3 nights. So
well, you can't beat that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. Yeah. I like the placard thing.
Yeah, we haven't seen any of that here. I have heard about it at some other casinos, but as soon as somebody gets up from the seat, they just switch the placard to red. And then somebody will come until it's clean, then they switch to green again.
That's really good.
That means you can sit down. Yeah, that is nice. Yeah.
So red means stop, don't sit there.
Correct.
Green means clean, go for it.
Yes.
They should have yellow. It's like,
take your chances.
We kind kind of cleaned it.
to you.
But yeah, it's up to you. Black. There's a black one. It's just like, well, not only are you going to die, you're going to lose all your money before you go there.
That's right.
This is a really.
I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
I'm a risk taker. I'm here to gamble.
Yeah. I can survive.
All right. Next up is Nathan. He's got some information about Biloxi as well as New Orleans.
Hey guys, this is Nathan from Indianapolis. Just heading home from a trip down to New Orleans and Biloxi, Mississippi. Stayed 3 nights in New Orleans and 4 nights in Biloxi. Stayed at the Harrah's in New Orleans. I've never been there before. It's really, really nice. It's right downtown, just a couple of blocks from Bourbon Street and all the fun areas in the city. New Orleans, Louisiana, their bars are still not open. So even the bars in the casinos are not open. So the video poker bars are still closed. There's still alcohol being served. Everything else in the casino is open. All the restaurants and everything downtown are open. And the restaurants that are serving alcohol can still serve alcohol, but just the bars are not. So it's still struggling, but had a really good time. Stayed a couple nights at Harrah's Golf Course over in Biloxi, and a couple nights in Beau Rivage. Beau Rivage is the big one. It's super nice. Largest one by far over in Biloxi. The one story I wanted to tell, I guess, and I was playing blackjack. Everything at $25 minimum. So blackjacks were $25. Roulette was $25. Craps was $25. Everything was $25 minimum. Playing blackjack. Was playing with a guy. He was doing the side bet. I think it's called the Lucky 7 side bet, and he was betting quite a bit. He was betting about $300 on the blackjack hand and betting $75 on one side bet and $25 on the other. And I was playing with him for about an hour or so, and, he'd hit some, he'd miss some, and slowly going through his stack. And then one hand, he didn't happen to play it, and he got 3 sevens of clubs. The dealer had a 7 of clubs, and he got 2 7s of clubs. The one hand he did not play while I was sitting there. So he wasn't as upset as I thought he would be. I think I was more upset for him, and the dealer felt bad, and everybody was just really sad. And we were trying to do the calculation. I think he missed out on about $76,000.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Jeez.
not something you forget very easily. But overall, it was a great trip, and thanks, guys.
Yeah, so we've talked about it before. If you don't want side bet regret, either always bet it or never bet it.
bet it, right? A guy like that, though, do you think he goes to bed that night and just is kicking himself? Or do you think he's such a good person that he thinks, that's just the way it goes, I'll just blow it off. Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd like to think I'm the latter, but I'd probably frustrate over
maybe,
that.
I don't know. We can't all be Adam Bauer.
No. There's only one Adam Bauer, Mark. There's only one.
Yeah, depending on what the side bet actually was, if it was Lucky 7s or what the pay tables, some of them pay $2,000 to 1, $5,000 to 1. Yeah, and he was betting, $75. It might even been more than that. So, oh well. Lesson learned, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, in the long run, he may be even.
Yeah, don't bet.
If he's betting $100 every time in his lifetime, he may have saved money by not betting it.
Well, not on that single.
Not
I don't know.
on that hands.
All right, let's not get into that discussion. All right, last call from Rob.
Hey guys, this is Rob from New Jersey. This was Monday, September, 28th. Jewish holiday, so I had a day off. So me and my friend decided to go to Mount Airy in the Poconos. So we got there around 12. We stayed until about 8 p.m. In terms of cleanliness of COVID, I felt totally safe. Everyone was wearing masks. There were hand sanitizer stations everywhere. Just walked around the casino, always saw like 2 or 3 employees washing everything down, sanitizing everything. At that point, that felt I was like in danger or anything. I played a few sessions of craps, and I know that every time someone walked away from the table, someone came by and disinfected the area, disinfected the dice after every roll, but they did it in a way that did not slow down the game. So tables, $5 minimums everywhere I went. That really surprised me. $5 minimums in craps, $5 minimums in roulette, $5 minimums in blackjack. The blackjacks played 3-2, and the $5 minimums were there from 12 until we left at almost 8. The dealers, everyone was great, relaxed, kick back atmosphere. There were 2 craps tables. The one table was packed, 3 people at each side. On my table was just me and 2 other guys. No one came to join us. When I got the dice, first of all, I waited. This guy finished his roll. He did like 10 rolls before I joined in, and the pit boss jokingly pointed to me and said, "This is a guy who knows how to play. He's not interrupting the roller." When I finally got the dice, I made 1 point, and I shortly 7'd out. And the guy to my left, I noticed he had a bunch of green on the don't. And I jokingly said, "Well, thanks for the confidence." And he shrugged his shoulders, and he said, "I'm sorry." And the pit boss goes, "Well, technically, he had confidence in you, just not in the right direction." So when the dice came back to me, the guy jokingly said, "This time I'm betting with you on the pass line." And I hit 5 points. Like, it was like the best roll I ever had. Once it was over, I immediately cashed out, and the guy who bet the don't joked, like, "Okay, now, bet with the pass the next time." We all had a good laugh about it. Dr. Mike, you'll be proud. I did $1 hard weights whenever I was the roller. And then when I hit the hard 6, I pressed all the way to 10. It hit again. And I told him to raise it to 25, so I collected 75 of a $1 bet, and I just couldn't get that hard 6 again. So I just let you know, you'll be proud of me. About the blackjack, I didn't do any of these side bets. This wasn't for me, so I guess Mark would be happy. So I guess both of you guys would be happy about the trip before.
Good. There you go.
Lastly, when I signed up for the card, turns out I haven't been there in 10 years. They gave me a $5 slot credit, which I thought was nice. My friend who's never been there before, he signed up because it was brand new. He got a $25 food credit. I looked at the lady, like, "Shouldn't it be the other way around?" And she's like, "That's how it goes." Like, okay. Anyway, guys, love the podcast. Keep it up. And like I said, I highly suggest Mount Airy, the Poconos. Very nice facility. Good to walk around. I recommend. Bye.
Yeah, so there you go, $5 minimums,
Yeah,
right?
I was wondering,
so,
is that because where it's at? I mean, maybe it's a little harder to get to.
Well, but see, that's what I was saying before. That might be a reason why you'd have higher limits, right? Because there's not as much competition. But good news, it's good to hear.
That's great for people who live in that area.
Yeah.
I am proud of Rob. For that third hard way is so hard.
It's so hard to hit.
It's so hard to
it's
hit.
so hard. About 1 in 10, or 1 in 8, or I don't know, something like that. Once you've hit the first 2,
oh, Mark,
rough.
you know that's not true.
Yeah, it's rough.
You know that's not true.
It's rough. Hey, so during the baseball playoffs here, did you see the new commercials for Circa?
Yes,
it looks great, doesn't it?
It looks really good. I love that commercial. I like the fact that they don't show all of his face.
I know. I mean, we know it's Derek Stevens,
We know
right?
it's Derek Stevens. Well, I can tell just from his eyes
Sure,
and up,
right, yeah.
But, for most people, they just don't show all of his face. And I was wondering, if you know Derek, he's always in his casinos.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You can go on a Saturday night, you'll see him walking around.
Yeah, right.
So I wonder if they're keeping his face kind of hidden so people who don't know who he is don't bother him.
Oh, no, I don't think that's it.
You don't think so?
No,
It's just a dramatic thing?
Yeah, I think it's
something?
just that. Yeah. It's interesting, though. I was thinking, if you aren't like a Vegas fanatic,
right?
You kind of know Vegas, but maybe you don't know that there's a new casino coming. You saw this commercial,
Right.
Oh, a new casino. You probably wouldn't think it's downtown.
No.
Right? Because I don't think they mentioned that at all. You're thinking, it's going to be a new casino there on the strip or something.
They don't show any of downtown.
Yeah. So
it just looks like this beautiful new casino. Yeah. I was real impressed with the commercial.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
Now, having said that, we've still been discussing Circa, and we were talking last night, and you're kind of leaning now towards not going for the opening.
Yeah. And I told you my reasons.
Yeah.
I have several reasons, and I just don't think I'm going to be able to make it.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to go in the beginning of December or end of November, actually. I think it's the last week of November.
Oh, for the great gift wrap-up?
For the great gift wrap-up.
Yeah.
And then, we'll stay at a Caesars property, and then we'll go to Circa.
Right. We're eventually, obviously, we're going to go to Circa eventually,
It just probably won't be there for opening weekend.
Yeah. I was kind of looking forward to it. At the same time, it's not going to be like a typical opening because we're in the middle of a pandemic, right? Everybody's going to be wearing masks, and there's going to be, so how crowded will it be, right?
I think it'll still be really
probably,
crowded. I think it'll still be really
that's
crowded.
something to consider also. And I know when you've been talking about your concerns.
I just can't take the chance of of going into a really crowded place and having to quarantine when I come back. It's not fair to my patients.
Yeah.
Now it's not fair to my parents.
Oh, yeah, that's
So,
another element.
I mean, there's just too many reasons not to go. Now, saying that, we went to the casino last night,
Right.
but it is a lot less crowded, and the infection control, I think, at Harrah's Rincon is excellent. I think they do a good job.
I think so too.
And they keep people away from us.
yeah.
I mean, they have. I mean, someone will come up, stand behind me, and look at my chips, and they, the dealers are real quick to say, don't stand
they
so
are.
close. They don't want.
And it's not just you. It's not because it's you, Dr. Mike. It's anybody.
It's anybody. I mean, not just me. I'm just saying that they do that for everybody, and so I do feel a little safer there. And we're there for a few hours, and we go home. Spending a whole 3 days in Vegas in crowded situations, I just don't know if it's fair to a lot of people.
All right. Yeah. So I guess that's the official word then. We're not planning to go to the opening, even though we were hoping to. And gosh, Mike, I was thinking you're talking about going to the Great Gift Wrap-Up, which I don't think I am going to. I think this is going to be the first time in, 30 years where I've gone a whole calendar year without going to Las Vegas.
Yes.
Because I haven't been yet. So.
Well, it's unusual times. I mean, honestly, without COVID, we'd be at the opening in a heartbeat.
Well, of course, yeah.
We'd be going to Vegas at least 4 or 5 times a year for me and our regular Harrah's trips, and we're just not doing that. It's just not feasible.
Yeah. Well, before we go, we want to send out congratulations to Vinny Chens. He and his wife are expecting a daughter in February, so congratulations.
Congrats, their first one, right?
Yeah, and even on his last show, he said that's the end of gambling.
Yep.
No more. And you're right, Vinny, that's it. You'll never gamble again. I hope you enjoyed it.
With kids.
Yeah, try to keep the podcast going, but no more bets for you.
And a girl too, Vinny. I got 2 of them. Congratulations.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. Hey, we want to thank some people for some recurring PayPal donations. Robin from Anytime Gambling, Justin, Nathan, Brian Dancer, Brian and Sarah, Josh, James, and Kurt. Thanks for those recurring donations. Also, we got a donation from our friend Melanie. She says, thank you, donation, in appreciation for your awesome show and organizing the poker game. Also, shout out to You Can Bet on That superfan, Gina, on her new job. Yeah, she got a new job, I think, up in L.A.
Right.
So maybe, Gina...
I read the text.
Yeah.
She's close to us now.
Come on down to Harrah's
you got to get down to Harrah's.
Get in contact with us.
And, if we hang around Gina long enough, Mark will hit that royal flush.
I think so. That's good luck. Yeah,
she'll bring us luck.
That is true.
That.
Yeah, just maybe stand and watch it. Gina, can you just watch us play for a little bit?
Well, she'll critique me.
That's right. What are you doing? What did you do? I can't remember now. You got rid of a toupee or something.
I did some accident. Gina laid into
That's
me.
Right. That's
which
right.
is good. She should.
That's right. Also, a donation from Nick the Greek. We actually referred him to the 7 Out podcast in order to get him into some football pools this year. He was asking about football pools.
He lives out of the country.
Yeah, I think Australia, and we weren't actually doing any pools ourselves. So, we kind of coordinated with the guys over at 7 Out. So thanks very much, Nick. Also, from our buddy Ed O'Connor, he says, anniversary coming up on September 20th, 2012. Mark and Dr. Mike recorded the first episode of what would become the best recreational gambling podcast on the internet. Oh, that's right. Gosh, Mike, another. Yes. Can you believe that? 8 years it went by between the last time we recorded and now. Along the way, they made friends all over the country. Thanks for keeping it up for so many years. Well, thanks, Ed.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks for all he does.
I know. Thanks for the 33
he puts on
pool.
Our 33 pool.
He does that. And
every week, we get frustrated by that.
That's right. We have never won it. So
the team we had this week got 23 points.
Well, and they didn't win. It wasn't that close, Mike.
But, a touchdown, a field goal.
Yeah, but they still need to win. Whatever. All right. Also, a donation from Nicholas. Here's 10% of my most recent win. Holy cow.
Wow.
Thanks for keeping the show going through the lockdown. Well, thanks, Nicholas. That's nice. That's nice. And finally, a donation from Brandon. Thanks for the great podcast and for hosting the poker tournament. P.S. Go Cardinals.
Oh, Brandon.
Oh, maybe he's talking about the Arizona Cardinals now that I think.
Arizona,
I hope so.
They're doing well,
yeah,
too.
If he's talking about the St. Louis Cardinals, they're done, my friend. They are done.
I got to say this, to be honest. The Cardinals have the Padres number forever.
Oh, yeah.
This is the first time. I told Mark like a month ago, just pray to God we don't play the Cardinals. Pray to God we don't play the Cardinals. Yep. And we got stuck with them. And after that first game, I was like, Yep. See, I told you.
Yeah, there you go.
I told
First
you.
game, and
Yeah.
then halfway through the second game.
Right.
Oh, well, this has
Yeah.
been nice.
You're right.
And then, oh my gosh, talk
You
about
actually
comebacks.
texted me, better luck next season.
I did. I
You
said that.
texted
Well,
me.
that was nice. I did.
that was
Yeah,
a-
Padres
it was a good
2021.
season.
Yep. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listing showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. And our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review on us. We love getting your feedback. What do you got, Dr. Mike?
Well, first thing I want to say, once again, I want to reiterate thank you to everybody who sent all their well wishes and good thoughts to my mom. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, sure.
And it was just nice to hear.
Good.
We're lucky we have such good friends.
Yeah,
Mark. We have an abundance of friends, and this podcast gave us hundreds of more.
Yeah, we've got great listeners. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And I don't even think of them as listeners. They're just all friends, friends of ours.
That's great.
And then second of all, I want to brag a little bit about how good my NFL football picks have been this year.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, they were good until last weekend when you lost almost all the money back.
Yeah,
last weekend was abysmal.
Yeah, but then I made up for it this week.
Today you had a very good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I'm paying less attention and making better picks than in previous years when I studied and did everything and made terrible picks.
You're getting wiser in your old age, my friend.
I guess so. I was telling you last night how old I am, how life is sending me all these little signals about how old I am.
Great.
But we're still having fun, and hopefully COVID will meet its demise at some point.
I hope so.
And we'll be back to normal.
Keeps going on. Yikes.
We ought to have a big meetup in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean,
To celebrate the end.
at some point, right, where it's like
at some point where it's like, okay, it's a distant,
like a year after the vaccine or something, when it's
Right.
like, but like an anniversary, it's
Right.
like, okay, let's all meet
and
up.
we'll
Yeah.
all go to Vegas. We'll all meet somewhere, Planet Hollywood or something. We'll have a
Yeah.
huge party.
Yeah, that
let's,
sounds
let's
good.
plan on it.
All right, will do. All right, thanks for listening.
Good night.
Oh, sweet mother, I love you, Dr. Mike.